I'm very interested in what's happening on the other side. Like, for instance, walking up mountains bare-chested, swimming in ice cold water, jumping out of planes. I'm a psychologist. I'm trained to observe and notice these things. And how the hell wasn't I able to notice the fact that I was sliding into a burnout? Because what most people do is when they get up in the morning, have breakfast, press play or fast forward maybe even, and they just keep on going. But your brain, your system is not evolved to do that. We need breaks. So once I learned to embrace fear, not let fear lead my life, and go beyond the fear, let go of stuff and let go of people as well, other people came to me. We need to change things. We need to help people get back to nature, back to their own nature, in order to recreate balance.
This is Surfer of Life. I am Tommy. Today's guest is Bart Scholtissen. You are a mindset expert, senior Wim Hof Method instructor, lifestyle hacker, outdoor lover, guide, and a fan of change. Once trained as a PhD in neuropsychology, you are now balancing between evidence-based with experience-based and have a mission to get people closer to their own nature and make this world a beautiful place. Welcome to Surfer of Life, Bart.
Thank you very much, Tommy. Yeah, it's correct what you say. So yeah, that's me, yeah. Bart.
I'm so happy to have you here, and I'm so honored that we met actually in Poland just a couple of months ago. But before that, I like to tell you congratulations. You had your birthday 2 days ago.
Yeah, 2 days ago. So now I'm really old now. As my oldest daughter said to me like a few days ago, you're almost a grandpa now. Hey, yeah. Well, thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot. How was your birthday? Was it good?
It was awesome. I had a nice day with a number of coaching sessions for myself. So me being coached, learned a lot, and in the evening we went out for dinner and with the family, and that was fine. So yeah, cool day.
All right, nice. All right, we met a couple of months ago in Poland when you were teaching me, coaching me, training me to be a Wim Hof Method instructor. I learned tons during that week. What about yourself? As an instructor, did you learn anything new about yourself during that week?
Yeah, obviously you always learn new stuff in every every meeting, every conversation, every moment I have together with people. You always learn new stuff about yourself, but also about like life in general. And my biggest learning point, I had a couple of learning points, obviously, in Poland. We obviously we had a very intense climb of Mount Śnieżka. And well, I learned a lot there about really extreme weather. I have been in extreme weather, but this one was my most extreme experience ever. I learned that the only thing that really works when things get really tough is stay calm. And I know that, and I've done that already before, but I've never been in these extreme. These very extreme conditions that we were in, and it also works there. And learning a lot about the way I, as an instructor or a senior instructor, work balancing with my co-instructor, who was also named Bart Pronk. How to work together, because that's always like I love working together, cooperating with people and co-creating stuff. And this was the first time that Bart and I worked together in Poland, and we prepared. But you always I like to learn on the fly. Like don't over prepare stuff. I used to do that when I was still a neuroscientist. And now I just I found out that you can trust the more you can trust in your own system, the more the more you get out of your head into your system, and the better you're able to respond to any given situation that comes at hand. And so that's what happened during the week. And I think we had an awesome week with lovely connections and a lot of learning. So
You did an awesome job as an instructor, being honest. Is it important to learn new things all the time about yourself?
Yeah, I think it is. I think that in this modern day society where information actually it never stops unless you tell it to stop, and we as human beings weren't really built for the continuous stream of information, dogmas, propaganda, whatever, because we all have multiple screens, and we need and we are a learning being, so the human race is functions best when learning, and so I think that it's very important to keep on learning every day, and keep learning new things every day, but that you have to balance it in which way you want to do that, because you can't be fully on the entire day or 24/7, but this is what society sort of asks from us, or we've created that here in Western European society. So as long as there is balance, and you're then it's okay to learn, and like that. So it's learning obviously is important.
I don't want to dig too much the past, but I think there are a couple of very important aspects about your past when you were thinking about your present moment. So you were actually a neuropsychologist and a researcher and a teacher, and you were having it looked like you had the best life ever, right? Beautiful family, you had a great job, and but it didn't, in the end, eventually it didn't go that well. So tell me about the story and the realization, and how did it go from there?
So I was trained. I studied psychology back in 1482 or something. So a long time ago, and I was looking for a study when I was in high school that was as biological as possible. I didn't have I couldn't study biology, so I searched for the next best thing, which was biological psychology. I got into this academic world, and I liked science due to the fact that I was this nosy guy. I wanted to know things. I had interest in everything, how everything works, and what better profession to choose than being a scientist, then, because they tend to want to find out what's happening and how things work. So I started studying psychology, and I was especially interested in human beings, and what makes us as human beings work, what makes us tick, why do we react like we react, and I learned a lot of theory about it, and I spent a few years working on my PhD, which was based on Parkinson's disease. So I did a lot of research there, shoving people into SPECT and PET and MRI scanners, and writing a lot of stuff. But it was all theoretical, luckily, I have this brain inside of my head that was sort of an easy learning brain. I've never really had big difficulties with learning, but being stuck in this cognitive world, where the only thing that really counted was my brains, and not the rest of that biochemical factory that we are. At a certain point, I lost my opportunity to be creative and to learn new things for myself. I was working on autopilot. And I was noticing that a lot of people in my area, in the academic world, were also somehow working on some sort of autopilot and not really being creative anymore, innovating. And that's when That's when I found out that the human body has enormous amounts of reserve capacity, because you can take a lot of shit and still keep on functioning. But at a certain point, the body says stop. And that's what also happened with me. I got into a burnout, which I didn't believe at the time and point that I was talking to the physician. I went to tell him about my problems, because I was physically sick, very tired, totally disconnected from my emotions, so to say. And the only emotion that was really there was this blunted, vague, numbed nothingness, gray, not happy anymore, and not able to enjoy the stuff like my family and nice things that were still happening. But I really couldn't enjoy it anymore. And then the physician said, well, hey, it's good that you're here now. Your story is obvious. This is what people call a burnout. And at that time and point, I thought, but hey, I'm a psychologist. I'm trained to observe and notice these things. And how the hell wasn't I able to notice the fact that I was sliding into a burnout? So I didn't want to have it. I didn't believe it. I said, no, it cannot be. I've got goals and targets and deadlines, and I need to do this and this and this and this. And then the physician said, well, that's not your problem anymore, because you're going to stop that now, and you're going to go back to your boss and then tell him that you've got a burnout and you're taking it slower now, and you're going to work on reconnecting with yourself and working on rebalancing yourself. That's when I found out that I was actually scared of talking to my boss, and it took me three meetings with him to make clear that I wasn't just having the flu or whatever, but really something big was happening there. And at that time and point, he mentioned that like, hey, but how would you feel about you being coached by somebody to help you get back to your old self, so to say? And at that time and point, I didn't realize that I would never get back to my old self. I was just like lost, and I didn't know what to do. So then I got coached, and that was like one of the big turning points in my life, where I sort of found myself again. I'm eternally grateful to Nicole, the woman who coached me, guided me back to myself. And during that process, a number of important things happened. She took me outside again. She didn't like I know that a lot of coaches, like a lot of psychologists, they sit in rooms like the rooms we are sitting in now, and they talk to their clients in those rooms. But Nicole didn't. She took me outside. She said, we're going to go to the woods. We're going to walk. And that was like this obvious, and I know now, but this eye opener to me, like, whoa, what's this? And I felt good for the first time in a long time after going out for a walk with her and talking and discussing. So I slowly started feeling better, reinventing myself, sort of finding out why I'm here, what my reason for being here on this planet is, because I think I'm convinced that we all have a reason why we are here. And she helped me find myself and that reason again. And at a certain point, I thought I was so happy with what she was doing that I said to her, like, I want your job, because I thought that I've been trained to help people. And obviously, yeah, I help people, students and research and all kinds of things. But she was really one-on-one helping somebody feeling better, or like Wim always says, happy, healthy, and strong again. And this is what I want to do. I want to help people, but I want to help people not on a cognitive, from a cognitive point, but from a holistic point, like the entire person. And so then I asked her, what do we need to do? And she said, well, start your own business and start helping people. So that's what I did. And so I started guiding people and coaching people myself.
When you were working on autopilot, like you said, did you have any routines back then?
Yeah, it was like a really sort of ordinary life. No worries, no fights, no arguments. Get up in the morning, make breakfast, get in the car, go to work, sit behind that desk for the entire day, answer emails, read scientific papers, do some lectures here and there, go back home, eat, maybe sport, but at the end I wasn't doing sports anymore. I was just feeling tired. Go to bed, sleep, get up, repeat. Yeah. So yeah, there was like this really dogmatic, to me, looking back, boring way of life that just didn't do it for me anymore.
Routine controlled life, like a lot of people have. What about nowadays?
Nowadays I eat and I sleep and then I get up and nowadays my life is like I do my best to live in the now, and because I wasn't at that time before my burnout, I wasn't living in the now. I was living either in the past or in the future, and those are two concepts that don't exist. The only thing that really is now. So what I do now is do my best to be present wherever I am. And I've learned to love myself again. So I've learned to find ways to connect with myself again. So I never feel alone anymore, even though there might not be nobody around. I always have myself around, and I try to do I do my best to create a life that's not ordinary anymore. So I like to investigate the edges of social norms and go beyond where points where other people stop and say, well, no, but we have rules and we have dogmas and we need to follow that. And I'm very interested in what's happening on the other side. Like, for instance, walking up mountains bare-chested, swimming in ice-cold water, jumping out of planes. And so I try to make my life more extraordinary than it has ever been. And that's taking me places that I could have never imagined going and being, and meeting people that I would have never imagined meeting if I would have still been that old fucked up neuroscientist that I was sitting in my office behind my laptop. So yeah, it's a big change, and it's, to me, best change ever, because I don't work from head based anymore, but now I work heart based, based on feeling. I haven't lost my brain, but the connection is there again. So I use everything I have to help people wherever I am in the world, be it one-on-one in a forest, for instance, coaching somebody, or teams, or doing a lecture or presentation about mindset, or doing something Wim Hof Method related, taking people along into nature and teaching them about nature and their own nature. So I do my best to vary my days.
Yeah. I'm going to ask about that more. Since we started speaking about the present and now, what about the world today overall? Mm-hmm. What's the situation?
I think it's fucked up.
How come?
How come? Well, due to people, and due to the technological advancements and evolution in general, maybe. I think we are creating a lot of disbalance in this world, and sort of living in two realities. Like, you have the physical laws, gravity. Like in your place, grass is grass, and we can agree on the fact that the stuff we're looking at when we're talking about grass is grass, and it's the same as the grass here. So there are these physical properties of the earth, of Gaia, that are the same everywhere. And then we have this mental world, since we have developed language, and we have developed the sort of a second layer already sort of a VR or augmented reality layer, and that's when things started going wrong. That's when we started doing industrial revolution, cognitive revolution, tech revolution, and things might be getting out of hand. So we need to change things. We need to help people get back to nature, back to their own nature, in order to recreate balance. So I do my best to live a positive life, but the work I'm doing now is based on the disbalance that is present in this modern day society, and we should change something, because in the end, I think nature doesn't really care about individual species, and we are just one of the species present here on this earth. And if we as a species create too much disbalance, nature will say, okay, exit, and then we'll rebalance again and go on. So, and I don't think that that's the meaning of why people are here. So we need to create more balance.
What are the biggest traps people fall into nowadays?
Well, good question. I think the biggest traps is that we have this thing, we have FOMO, fear of missing out. And in this modern day society, information travels so fast that distances get smaller. You're in Finland, I'm in Holland, and still we can talk. 200 years ago, this was impossible. We would have never met, because I would be living in my village and you would have been living in your village, and we would have had this really local lifestyle, and that's it. But nowadays, everything is possible. All the knowledge you at some point learn in school is inside of this. At the other side of the electronic device you have in your pocket, which from one side is awesome because we can learn way more, but on the other side gets us also disconnected from ourselves, disconnected from nature. That's like, and we don't want to miss out stuff. We want to know everything, and we want to be happy always, and that's just not possible. So our systems aren't. Evolution hasn't prepared us for the fast increase in the technological advances that make this virtual world, so small and everything so easily accessible, and the expectations of people that we're always happy and we'll always know everything, we're always on top of the news, and it's just not realistic, and people lose themselves in that sort of rat race. I also did, and that got me into my burnout.
So you're saying we're losing control?
Yeah, well, maybe. Well, we're losing control over ourselves, because I believe that the only thing you really control is yourself, and the only thing really like black and white, and obviously not everybody individually, but a lot of people think they can control a lot of things outside of themselves. Like, for instance, when we do an ice bath and when you do workshops, there are people that think that they can control the ice by fighting it. There are people who fight wars because they think they can control another person or group of persons. People think they can control nature, but you don't control anything outside of yourself. So once I let go of that construct in my head that I actually had control over students working for me, my life, my house, whatever, I actually increased control in myself. And that gave me peace of mind and openness to create new things. So I think that's one of the big risks in this modern day, volatile, fast-paced society. Fear of missing out, You don't need it. So you can be connected, but the connection can only be good when your internal connection is good, and then you can connect to other people in a better way. And once you decide that you can't please everybody and you don't control anybody, then you start living in the now again, and not stressing over things in the past, what happened yesterday, or stressing about what might happen in the future if I don't do this now. It's a waste of energy. People are wasting enormous amounts of energy on not living in the now.
Is there any tools we can use to get out of our heads and become living in the present moment?
Oh, well, yeah, the obvious one, and you probably saw this one coming, is breathing. To me, breathing. When I was studying psychology, biological psychology, you learn the anatomy, the biology of the body. You learn a lot there. And so I learned about lungs and alveoli and bronchi, whatever, the physical capacities and properties of the breathing apparatus, and why we need to breathe, but not why we need to breathe and that we can do something with that breath. Get out of our heads, silence the monkey brain, and make yourself realize that we have thoughts, and we aren't our thoughts, because we have a lot of thoughts. That's how your brain is programmed, just firing crazy shit at us. And I used to do something with all the thoughts that came up, and that got me really, really tired. And now that I found breathing, which at first sounded like vague hippie bullshit, is by far the most direct way of going inside and regaining control and creating peace of mind and rest and stillness and bliss and flow, for that matter. So that is one of the most important things. And that, combined with going out into nature again, getting outside of these boxes that we've created for ourselves, taking off a layer or 2 layers of clothes, taking your shoes off and getting your feet dirty again, earthing, grounding, reconnecting with nature, makes your body work better as well. So, and in Japan, this is called Shinrin-yoku. I don't know whether I pronounce it correctly, but forest bathing. And that's why I take people outside. That's why my office is the forest. And those are ways to sort of hack your lifestyle again, connect with yourself again, and create a better reality for yourself.
It is quite crazy that we are losing the nature, because let's say here in Finland, we're all about forest, but still they're just building blockhouses all around ours as well, and people are moving to city and abandoning the nature. It's crazy. And it's like I'm thinking about this. I've got 4 kids, so I watch a lot of cartoons. And you have this Pixar movie from a few years ago, WALL-E. I think most people with kids know it. It's this little robot with this little white robot, Eve, and they have these crazy adventures. But what this robot actually is, and what this movie is about, to me, it's a documentary of what might happen if we keep on creating this disbalance. Because what happened in that movie is that people, the inhabitants of Earth, human beings, they created so much disbalance that there was only buildings, waste products, and hardly no other living beings besides those humans. And then they developed spaceships and went into space and started leading a life there, and left robots on Earth to clean up, with the mission also to find new life forms again. That's what this movie is about. And to the kids, it's awesome because they see robots and people in spaceships, and that's cool. But this is actually like a vision about how the future might very well be if we don't stop creating this balance, and if we don't stop incorporating nature into our daily lives again more. In my opinion, the world is rushing, building these robots and things. Do you think the same way?
Yeah, but I also think that it's sort of an inevitable thing. We can't close our eyes for the advancement of technology, and that's like a logarithmic scale. It's an ever increasing speed, and that's maybe the rush that you mean. So we can't close our eyes for that. But what we can do is use it for the good, and also put those things aside and go outside again to improve your connection. And that's not the Wi-Fi connection, obviously, or the 4G or even 5G, which will be rolled out in due time, which is going to create even more disbalance in nature. But go out and improve connection with yourself again, and sort of de-escalate, or what's the word for it? Sort of put a little bit of a break on the rush and the speed with which technology is advancing. So to create more balance, because technology will keep on advancing. AI is here, and AI will get even faster and better. I heard the founder of Mind Valley, Vishen Lakhiani, talk about the advancement of technology, that by 2020 or 2030 or so, your cell phone will have as much superpower capacities as the entire, I don't know, the entire United States or something had like 20 years ago, and that will just be in your phone. So increasing technology is unstoppable. We also can't blast it, but we can use it to get people, to make people aware of the fact that they have a choice. They have a choice to stop using the phone for a few minutes a day, maybe even longer, or not being in these buildings that we're building, but reconnecting with nature outside and try to find balance there.
Okay, just have a break once in a while.
Yeah, no, well, not yeah, well, once in a while, yeah, but even on a daily basis, because what most people do is when they get up in the morning, have breakfast, press play or fast forward maybe even, and they just keep on going. But your brain, your system is not evolved to do that. We need breaks. When you look outside into nature, everything is about balance, and balance is like this sinusoid line. It's not a straight line. But that is what technology is doing. That's an ever increasing straight line. That's also what corporations and a lot of businesses are doing. And bosses and leaders are not leaders, but bosses and managers are asking you to just keep on performing and performing and performing more. But we need to have rest as well. Light side only exists because the dark side is there. The top of a mountain only exists by the grace of the low of that mountain, and that's balance. If you have a flat line on an ECG monitor, you're dead. It's not life. Life goes with it. Life is ups and downs, action and rest. Like your nervous system also needs rest and action.
I have to ask this. Maybe it has everything to do with what you already said, but define me unfuck yourself.
Yeah, I use that phrase like we should be, and you see that more on online, like become unfuckwithable, and I love that word, and to me that means that we lose the FOMO, the fear of missing out. We lose the stress that we're creating for ourselves to always be present everywhere. So get rid of the shit and go back to your core, to your center, to that playing kit that is inside of all of us, and create a balance from there. That's what unfucking yourself means to me.
Okay, so deeper connection to yourself and staying in the present, being here now. All right. Yeah. Great words, man.
Thank you very much.
You are teaching, and you were teaching back in the old days, the non-existent days, the past. What do you think about the teaching back in those days? How can you actually teach people when you are not being okay yourself?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I actually don't know how I did that. I was for a long time. I wasn't in my burnout yet, and I was living in a different reality. I think that might be part of the answer. I had created back then a different reality in which I thought that everybody was living in the same reality as I was living in. Now I know that everybody has his or her own reality, and that's fine. And we can perfectly agree to disagree, which is fine. But back in the days, when I was still working at university, I thought that the academic world is the world. All of my life was taking place inside the academy. I didn't have friends that weren't working in that area. So that was my reality. And I wasn't aware of the fact that I was not being honest to myself, not being connected with my feeling. I was just dogmatically working with my brain and doing what I thought was okay. And also like teaching that, but I'm looking for a correct English word for it. I was teaching like, this is the truth. I have read, and all I was teaching was theory from books. So evidence-based theory. And but I didn't realize that there was way more than what I was reading in those books. And now I know that we have evidence-based, which is this much of the entire spectrum, and then we have experience-based, which is way more than that little part that is evidence-based. And if you can combine those two, you can be you're also more true to yourself, and you're more in the now, and then you're I don't like the word teaching anymore. But then you're more able to guide people to ask questions for themselves. Because what I was noticing that when I was still lecturing and whatever in science, that I was telling people this and this is the truth. Learn it, take a test, and then continue with the next chapter. And that's not correct. And when I found that out, I started training people into asking questions and saying, and now I always start with, don't believe anything I tell you, just create your own value and work from there.
Talking about values, you brought it up. What are your values?
I think, I think the most important value is that you're you. That you're authentic, and you place yourself by being authentic in this crazy vulnerable position in which connection increases, in which people you might feel fear at first, and for reactions of people, because I wasn't open and I wasn't vulnerable before my burnout and afterwards. But no, being vulnerable, that's really, really important. Sharing your story, being open about stuff, not making a secret of the fact that you had a burnout, talking about it. So showing yourself to the world, and by doing that, by being open-minded, which is really, really important to me, opening up to people also open up to you then. If you share a part of your story, people will share a part of their story, and hence increase connection. So I think being vulnerable and open with the aim of positive increase of connection is an important value to me.
What about this change you had? Did it affect your entire life? What about your buddies, your friends? Yeah. Were you leaving people behind because of this?
Yeah, and people were leaving me behind. A lot changed. I was this ultimate pleaser, doing my best to make everybody happy, be it the students, be it the staff, be it the people I thought were my friends, with this fear of missing out and this fear of not being good enough, not being liked by others. So I just wanted to please everybody, but I lost myself there. because when you please everybody, you're not taking care of yourself, and that changed dramatically when I found out that I had to take care of myself first, which is not like egoistic or selfish, but actually is self-care. And if you do proper self-care, then you can care better for others. So that changed, and a lot of people didn't understand. So people who know me from my sort of previous lifetime and the way I'm living now, they say that I really, really changed. Whereas I think that I've just become myself more and more and more, which is a never-ending story. It's a work in progress, and I hope that'll stay this work in progress for the rest of my life. So yeah, then you lose people, but you also realize that that's okay. Still love those people, but they're not part of my life anymore. By the fact that I'm open and I've become more. Maybe better at letting go, new doors open, because a lot of people in this world are holding on to like this dead piece, this dead straw, for instance, if you want to create a metaphor. So this dead piece of grass, they're holding on to it because they think that this is life, this is what they're supposed to be doing, and by doing that, they miss out on all kinds of awesomeness. And I was doing that. I was holding on to something, not being honest to myself anymore, holding on to something which I called life, but which actually wasn't that much of life anymore. And I had this fear of letting this go, but you need to let go of that in order for other doors to open. So once I learned to embrace fear, not let fear lead my life, and go beyond the fear, let go of stuff, and let go of people as well, other people came to me, and that's my journey of becoming me. And I've learned that when I am me, and that's the only thing I can be. I can play a role, and that's what it is for a long time of my life. But by becoming me, Bart, just the way I am, I resonate with people that also are working on themselves and noticing that, like, no, I can just be me. And we also notice that in Poland, and I often use that as an example. You don't connect as deeply with everybody in a group as big as that, but everybody was okay, and everybody could be whatever they wanted to be. Nobody was saying, hey, why do you have this shirt on, or why do you have that hat on, or whatever. No, it's okay. And if you want to lay down, lay down. And if you want to stand up, stand up. But that's not normal in this society. And that's something I want to bring into this society. And that means that I need to live that, that I don't need to worry anymore about, oh, damn, I'm going to be on a podcast, so I better wear this and this shirt because it'll look better. Or no, I just need to wear what suits me, what I feel is fine. And that makes me feel good. Then I can be vulnerable and open, and that might inspire other people to do the same thing. And that will increase connection and balance again.
Yeah, it resonates the other people. Yeah. And as a guide and not the teacher, as you don't want to call yourself anymore, is it easier to guide people now when you're vulnerable and just by yourself? Yeah. Does it affect the results?
Yeah, results are better. And for instance, when I just started my own business in coaching is also like a word that I don't like to use. But when you mention coaching, people think, okay, so they have this idea about what you do. And I started coaching people cognitively from my background as being a neuropsychologist, with all the knowledge I had from the books of how to coach people, how to help people. And now, that was all in my head, or for a large part in my head. But now what I do is I get out of my head and I connect from my heart, open and vulnerable with people. And the connection is way deeper, and you can make way better and faster and deeper progress by connecting on a heart level instead of on a head level. So yeah, it changed a lot. And I don't need to think and overthink or prepare these conversations anymore. Also, this, for instance, I'm speaking from my heart now. This is not my cognitive brain thinking about, what should I say? No, I'm speaking from my heart. I don't know what I'm going to say in 2 minutes. I don't know what I said 2 minutes ago because I'm in the now, I'm present, and the connection is way better. Even in this conversation, it's not planned, it's not programmed, it's not scripted. No, we're talking from heart to heart. And if you do that you don't even need to do it therapeutically. Like if you do that, and I know you do that because we've spent some time together and I've gotten to know you. But if people in general would do that more, not think so much about, what might this other person think about me? No, I can better answer like this and this and this, then I might get that and that answer. Then you're not in the now. So what I do is I'm present and I share, and then you get the most awesome deep connection with people. And yeah, that works also when you do that therapeutically.
Yeah. How do your clients approach you?
Well, they call me or they send me an email or they find me on social media and by word of mouth. I don't advertise. It's like no, it's just that's how people approach me, and I also trust that. I trust the system in that the people who come to me are the people who should come to me, and the people who don't come to me, I shouldn't be pulling there because they're not the people who I can help the best. So, and then people, just they call me or they've read something about me, they've seen my Instagram profile, for instance, and then they say, I saw this and this, or I heard him or her say this and this, and could we talk? Because I have this question or this problem, and then I meet with them for half an hour or an hour, and we get to know each other a bit, and from there we work further.
How do you choose your clients? Do you work with everybody, or do you ever have to say no?
Well, sometimes when I don't feel that connection, then I say no, and then I'm happy to advise them with people I know that are to me are good guides or coaches or whatever. I just give them the number and I say, hey, listen. I don't feel the connection, and to me that's important because I can help you when I feel when there is a good connection and I can be open. But it's also if I would think, okay, I can make money by helping this client, but I don't feel a connection, then I'm not honest to myself. And if I'm not honest to myself, my connection with myself is not good, and by that the connection with that with that person on the other side is also not good. So then I'm also not honest to them. So that doesn't work to me. And then I explain this to people, and then I say, okay, how do you feel? And if the other side also doesn't feel well about it, then that's fine too. And then we just split up again, and I give them some other names of people that I know and I trust, and then I hope that they find a place there. So yeah, sometimes you say no because the connection isn't there.
Let's talk about your company a little bit and your work more. We've been talking about it already, but what kind of products do you have? What do you guide? You have some different stuff.
I guide change processes. What I do in general is take people into nature to get them back in touch with their own nature. That's why my what's the word for that tagline is back to your nature. So what I do is individual personal development and team development, which in essence is a group of individuals working together or doing their best to work together. That's how I started, and then I started giving talks about mindset, because to me everything is mindset based. Your mindset creates your reality. And I started getting invitations from companies that wanted me to come over and talk about mindset and living in the now. So that's what I do: speaking, personal and team development, and Wim Hof stuff. But it's all intertwined, because when I'm giving a presentation or a talk somewhere, yeah, obviously I talk about Wim and getting into nature, and I also always take some ice cubes along to have people play with something they might fear and change their mindset about stuff. And in one-on-one or team development processes, I also do that. So those I have got 3 pillars. Not lecturing anymore, talking about mindset, about living in the now, personal and team development, and Wim Hof Method, purely dedicated to Wim Hof Method workshops and sessions. And I have a lot of fun in the meanwhile. That's
important, man.
Yeah, not take things too seriously, because that's not okay.
Mindset. Can you dig a little bit deeper on that mindset level? Define me that mindset. I want to know more about what mindset really actually means.
Yeah, well, then maybe you should Google the definition of mindset. I never did, actually. But
what does it mean for you?
Well, to me, mindset is sort of it's sort of an umbrella term. Like this in the Wim Hof Method, you have breathing, mindset, and cold, or breathing, commitment, and cold. And breathing is obvious. You inhale and exhale. Cold is obvious. You get into ice water or you don't. And then there is this sort of vague mindset thing. But I think it just, to me, it means it means being present, using your brain for something good. Using your brain to create an atmosphere, a reality for yourself, in which you can be happy, healthy, and strong, in which you can create awesome shit, in which you can have fun. And you need your mind, your brain, in a certain set to create that. Like open-minded, the vulnerability I was talking about, a problem-solving style instead of blaming everybody outside of yourself, not looking at yourself, taking a responsible role about your life, and so taking charge over your own life and living your life, and by that maybe inspiring other people to rethink the things they're doing in their life.
Thank you. That's a good definition.
It's a long one, eh?
Yeah, but it's good.
Okay, cool.
Let's jump to a little bit different topic. It all relates, but let's talk about energy.
Energy?
Yeah.
Everything is energy, to me. What do you want to know about energy?
What do you want to talk about energy? You said everything is energy for you. Just give me an example, for example.
Well,
example for an example. That's funny way to put it.
This nice, ugly, beautiful mug I got from one of my friends in Poland. It's energy. This human body is energy, and we everything on this planet is energy. Energy in motion. Nothing is solid. This might look solid. But if you go down, if you put things under a microscope or even an electron microscope, you will see movement, and that's energy. And we all, to me, came from some same origin of energy, and some molecules bound together into being a cup, and some molecules bound together into being human, and some into being a dog. My dog is here wanting to be pet here, so I'm just giving a little hug here. And if you see that everything is energy, then you can start to play with it. Then you can consciously start to bend energy, so to say, use energy for the good instead of draining energy from yourself. Balance things more. Inhale and increase energy, exhale and decrease energy. Create balance. It's like non-dualism. It's all one. It's all the same energy. We're all connected in that same energy.
You think there's good and bad energy around, positive and negative, or is it all just mixed?
Yeah, well, I think it's in essence it's all the same energy, but maybe flowing in a different direction. Because like when you have a battery, there is a plus and a minus pole on it, which you might say is good and bad. In Star Wars, you have the light side and the dark side, and you have yin and yang, and that's you need those two sides of the energy spectrum, heat and cold. It's two sides of energy. In essence, it's all the same, but you need the plus and the minus side. We have two poles on this. We have a North Pole and a South Pole on this Earth, and so there is a light side and a dark side, but they're necessary to create balance and life in the middle.
Are you using energy or vibration, as somebody called them, when you're guiding people, when you're changing something of your clients?
Yeah.
Do you have certain method? You don't have to talk about the method. People can actually contact you and come to be your clients.
Everybody's
don't
always
reveal everything yet.
No, but obviously you're using energy, be it mindset, which in essence is also energy in motion, but you're helping people, at least I am helping people to refocus the aim of the process of their energy. So it's not that I'm like an avatar or whatever, bending. Maybe I am bending energy, but and here is where it gets vague, to a lot of people. It's all about energy, but helping people find their own power supply. Find there is this unlimited amount of energy available, but we're just not tapping into it. In the Food Matters Transcendence documentaries, Rich Roll, which is a vegan ultra athlete, who is a vegan ultra athlete, he talks about this. He says, well, if you find that if you find that you can plug in to this unlimited amount of energy that we are, you never need to stop anymore. You can sort of always keep on going in a balanced way. I I use energy and sort of bend energy towards a more positive state for people, and teach them how they can do that themselves. For instance, by breathing, which is also bending energy. So
yeah, I understand that because I've seen how the energies affect, and I've been actually taught now by this Shaolin master Roland Mastel. He's teaching energy art, so it's very, very fascinating stuff.
Yeah.
We already spoke about nature, but let's put it this way: you live close to nature nowadays, right? Yeah. And obviously, nature is now very important to you. You spoke about it. Is there any special place in the nature that you'd rather be? Is it water? Is it woods? Or does it just depend on the mood?
Well, nature in general, but I love the mountains. But the mountains where there is water, and there is always water somewhere. I've been to Norway twice last year, and I love the rawness of nature there, which is also when we were in Poland and we were walking in the woods there. The nature is raw. Here in Holland, most nature is relatively cultivated. It's sort of processed nature. It's not as raw. So if you can put me in a place where nature is raw, at its finest, so to say, in its most pure form, that's where I'll be happy. And yeah, I love that, to be in a mountain, more mountain area than sea area, but always with some water there.
Invitation to Lapland. You've been to Lapland?
Not yet. I would love to go there. Yeah. We should go together.
We should go together. It's far from here as well, but yeah, I love it. I actually go there during the spring, but it's a bit different trip. It's not so nature-rich trip. But let's not talk about that.
Yeah, so to me, it doesn't necessarily need to be snow or sunshine or rain, but rawness of nature, where nature is at its most pure form. I'll also be going to Iceland, for instance, later on this year. I'll be returning to Norway to do some weeks there. That's what I love most. But also, like, that's not available, readily available to everybody, but by going outside. If you live in a city, in a rural area, an urban area, go outside, find that park, and that's already a good start. And then maybe drive out of the city for half an hour and be in nature, which might also be sort of cultivated even there, but still, it's more nature than you have inside of this box you're living in for most of the time.
Yeah. Talking about nature, maybe I'm a little bit repeating myself, but for people to understand, separate these two things, getting back to your own nature and getting back to nature.
You can't separate that. It's the same thing.
We are all the same.
To me, it's the same thing. By getting into nature, you get closer to nature. This is nature, and by grounding, by walking barefooted in the woods, negative ions from the soil are absorbed by your body, which increases your health. So by improving the connection, your physical and mental, well, that's also the same thing. Your connection, your system's connection with nature, you improve connection in general, and create more balance inside your own system, but also in the system we call the world.
Nice.
Cool.
Such a blast. Yeah. It's great. Thank you so much. Yeah. Hey.
Thank you.
It's been awesome. Even though we had a couple of tech fails or something, they're not fails. They're meant to be, right?
Yeah, it's all meant to be, and it's all good. So cool.
Good. Thank you so much for participating and being here on my show. But I have a couple of more questions. I have a couple of questions I usually ask, and maybe add something else. What are you going to do in the future?
I don't know, because I live in the now.
I had to ask that because I couldn't lose the answer. I needed to ask it.
If I can make a fair guess, I'm going to do my best to be extraordinary. I don't want to be mediocre. No, I want to. I'm planning on being 125. I've got a lot of things to do here, but I don't know what I'm going to do next week, next month, next year. I should look at my agenda. There are some things in there. I'll be across the world the coming months again, but I'll just be in the now for the future as well. So I create awesomeness and connection there.
What does it mean being 125?
I don't know.
Yeah,
it's like some people think, well, if I turn 65, then that's okay. But no, I think this is also mindset, and there is a lot of disbalance in this world, so there is a lot of work to do, and I have found my passion, I have found my drive here. I want to be at least 125 in good health, and that's just a number that came to me. So that's something I'm working on in the now.
In the now.
Yeah.
What makes you feel down?
Come again? What makes me feel what?
Down. Make you feel bad or sad.
Disbalance and disrespect. People disrespecting each other. That makes me feel bad and sad. People judging each other and based on whatever characteristic you can think of, racism. That makes me feel sad, and the disbalance people are creating by that movement. It's a total waste of energy. It's not a competition, this life.
What makes you happy then?
Well, everything else. I enjoy life. Life makes me happy. Life and all of its challenges, meeting new people, connecting, being inspired by people, and on my way and on that route, inspiring other people. That makes me happy. My kids, they make me happy. My family, all the beautiful tribe members I met in the Wim Hof Method. I consider you as my family. You're my tribe. You're part of my tribe. I'm part of your tribe. that's life, and I love life.
Beautiful words.
Thank
Nice.
you.
It's just thank you so much for spreading the love and the positive vibes, energy here.
Awesome.
Important stuff.
Yeah, beautiful.
Thank you,
Thank
Bart.
you for the opportunity. Have a good time.